Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to another video here on Watts Wildlife. Today we are going to be looking for some of the big carnivores of Yellowstone National Park: grizzly bears, black bears, and wolves. We already saw a grizzly, 2 black bears, and 10 wolves this morning, and I got some footage of those, but we're going to be looking some more today as we go over into Lamar Valley, which is the best spot for grizzlies and wolves, and we're going to also be looking for bison over in Lamar Valley and stuff like that, which will be a totally separate video. But it should be pretty awesome. So we're going to hit the road right now. We are currently at Swan Lake Flat or Swan Lake Flats, and we're going to head over to Lamar. Alright guys, so before we head over to Lamar Valley, I'm going to take a little jump back in time. We're going to look at the day before I filmed that intro clip, and this is when we were sitting in Hayden Valley doing some wolf watching in the evening. Unfortunately, we didn't see any, but we were sitting there with a couple of other wolf watchers. You can see I had the full setup here with the camera and the big 100-400 lens on it, and we were just pretty much scanning those back hills of the valley. That's where they're typically seen, looking for wolves, and unfortunately had no luck. We did get to see a huge herd of elk coming out of this power line cut on the side of the mountain, so that was really cool to see, and you can see them trudging across Hayden Valley here. Really cool to see that many elk just running through there. Pretty cool. And then we also earlier in the day did get to see a black bear, and that was a really cool experience. We were able to get pretty close to that, and I got some really great pictures of that. And then we went back to camp and had a campfire and went to sleep. Got up the next morning to head back into Hayden Valley. So the next morning we were up very bright and early and in Hayden Valley before the sun even rose, and as we sat there, everyone getting out their spotting scopes and waited, we were very afraid that we weren't going to get to see anything because it was super foggy and conditions weren't looking good. But finally that sun came out and broke through the fog, and out of the fog comes a black wolf, and it was just absolutely incredible to be able to see this guy coming across the valley even though he was so far away. And he was carrying some meat, which was super cool, that had come off of a kill that they had gotten right over Mary Mountain, which is over on the right side of the valley from where we were standing. On the north end of Hayden Valley is Mary Mountain, so they were coming off of Mary Mountain, and this black wolf had a kill, or had some meat from a kill, and he walked in front of us. It was just really incredible to watch him cross the valley and go up to the den on the other end of the valley, more near where we were standing. He was quickly followed by another black wolf, and then they were followed by a gray wolf and a huge white wolf that is actually the alpha female of this pack, and she really just stood out among the sagebrush. Just glowed bright white. Really amazing wolf, and you can definitely tell she's the alpha. She's much larger than the others and just really stood out, and they were all bloody and were carrying meat and stuff back to the den. All these wolves were, and so that was really amazing to see. We saw a couple more grays and another black wolf cross that morning, and as you can see here, most of what I got was pictures. I got a little bit of footage, but mostly photos. And then we thought that we weren't going to get to see anything else, but suddenly out comes a grizzly bear, and we did not really expect to see that coming from where it came, but it came out right in the path of the wolves, following them, and right behind the grizzly bear, just probably 10 or 15 feet following behind, was yet another black wolf. So we were getting to watch a wolf following a grizzly bear across Hayden Valley, which was so cool. And we suspect that the grizzly bear was actually following the other wolves, the black wolves and the gray wolves and the alpha female that had crossed earlier with all the meat. We suspect the grizzly bear was following them because he smelled the meat and was looking for an easy meal. It ended up that the grizzly bear actually went into the trees before he ever got near the den, and the black wolf headed onto the den. And then we heard one of the coolest things I've ever heard in my life: an entire wolf pack howling. And so it was absolutely incredible to be able to see that. And as you can see on top of that hill there in this footage, you have the black wolf there in the front that was the alpha male of this pack. And then in the back there is the white alpha female. And this was the Wapiti pack of Yellowstone. I don't think I mentioned that yet. But they're currently living in the Hayden Valley area. And they are the largest pack in the park, headed by, like I said, that white female and the big black male there. And that was about all the action we got for wolves that day in Hayden Valley, but we did actually get to see some coyotes before the wolves ever came out, and you can see that in this footage right here. So that was pretty cool, and we did actually get to see the other one cross the river eventually. But then, finally, after that, you can see here's some more footage of yet another coyote. And this is up in Swan Lake Flats right after I recorded that intro clip. So we are now caught up. We're not back in time anymore. And we're on the way to Lamar Valley when we saw this coyote and pulled over on the side of the road. And I got some footage of him, and he was just out in this field hunting for mice and such, different things like that. So it was pretty cool. We got to see him too. And then we saw yet another coyote, but this time it was following right behind a black bear, which was really weird. But I guess it makes sense. I've never really seen a coyote do this before, but, black bears are naturally very good scavengers. So, maybe this coyote was thinking that this bear is going to find some meal, maybe an elk carcass that wolves took down, and the wolves aren't there right now, and maybe they'll both be able to get a quick snack. But yeah, as you can see in this footage, the coyote was following very, very closely behind the black bear, and they seemed pretty comfortable with each other. I mean, the coyote was keeping his distance for sure, but it didn't seem to bother the black bear, so that was unique and cool to see. But then after this, we headed on and finally made it to Lamar Valley. And Lamar Valley, for those of you that have never been to Yellowstone, is absolutely beautiful. Besides trying to see wolves there, it is a place that is just absolutely stunning and just probably the most scenic part of Yellowstone in my opinion. And it's just such an awesome place to be, and there's so much wildlife, even if you don't get to see wolves, with the bison and pronghorn and everything else. And this massive river, the Lamar River that meanders through it, the mountains surrounding it, it is just a really, really awesome little corner of Yellowstone. And it's actually the least visited part of Yellowstone, despite it being, in my opinion, the best. But what we ended up doing after we got there was setting up. There were a couple other wolf watchers there, and got all set up and ready to do some wolf watching, but unfortunately, we didn't see any wolves in what is supposedly the best place in Yellowstone to see wolves. But that's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you're just, wolves are wild animals. They're not always just going to show just because this is the best place to see them. And so we didn't see them. We did see a grizzly bear very briefly, but I didn't get any pictures or video. And we got to see lots of bison, thousands and thousands of bison there, and we even saw some pronghorn running around and chasing each other, and all that was cool, but we did not get to see any wolves. So we drove back to camp very late and went to bed, and then we were back at it the next morning in Hayden Valley, and definitely had a lot more luck, because this morning we actually saw 12 wolves total, some of which were the ones from yesterday, like the alpha female and some of the black wolves from the morning before, but they were doing the exact same thing. They were coming over the mountain carrying meat all the way up to the den, and this time I actually got, besides just all these different pictures, a couple of really good clips of them coming off the mountain. And then after that black wolf and the gray wolf crossed the valley there, they went up to the den. And this is where I was able to get some footage of multiple of the different pack members interacting here. In this footage, you can see the alpha female, and she's followed by a gray pup and a black pup. We're trying to follow her away from the den and out of the den and out of safety. And she kind of, has to tell him, turn around and go back to the den. It's not safe out here. So you can see all of that going on in this footage, and it's just crazy to see these wolves interacting with my own two eyes and see, actual pack interactions and dynamics going on right in front of you. It's just something that I never thought I'd be able to see, and that was really awesome to be able to see while we were in Yellowstone. So I really enjoyed seeing all of that. And then as the grand finale for this morning in the Hayden Valley, we got to see something that, again, it's kind of hard to make out in this footage here, but over on the opposite side of the hill from the den, black wolf and a gray wolf actually brought out two of the pups to come out and play on the hillside, and that was just so cool to see. And like I said, you can barely even see the wolves in this footage. They were so far out at this point. They're just pretty much specks on that hillside that are moving around. But they did bring out two of the pups, and they kind of just ran around and played in the grass and sagebrush here, and that was something that I never thought I would get to see and was blown away by. So that was super cool. We came back to Hayden Valley later in the evening and were able to see two grizzly bears. We didn't see any wolves. There were a lot of different people there, tons of people there looking for wolves and grizzly bears, but the wolves were just not very active this evening in the valley, and it seems like every evening we were there, they were just not active in the evenings. Definitely the mornings was the time to be there, and so we actually didn't get to see them this evening, but we did get to see two grizzly bears, and we're able to film this one crossing the valley and kind of digging through the sagebrush and through the ground and looking for something to eat. Grizzly bears have an extremely diverse diet. I think there's like 232 or something like that different things that they can eat in Yellowstone National Park. So yeah, this guy was doing a lot of foraging for something to eat, and he was really far off, but it was still cool to be able to see him going across the valley and looking for a quick and easy meal. So as you can see by these clips, we ended up watching this grizzly bear sauntering across Hayden Valley for a while looking for food and digging around for grubs and different things, and we were hoping that we would actually get to see more grizzly bears than just the 4 that we saw in Yellowstone. We were hoping that when we got down to Grand Teton, we would get to see Grizzly 399 with her 4 famous cubs up close, but unfortunately we just didn't get to. It wasn't that she's hard to see. I mean, they see her all the time, almost daily there, but we just happened to be there in the wrong days, and she just didn't show on the days that we were there. Unfortunately, she gets a lot less active in the summer, and so it was just one of those periods of inactivity, and so we were unable to see her, unfortunately, but it was still awesome to see this grizzly bear in Hayden Valley and watch him or her looking for food. Now, all of the footage and pictures that I've had so far has been from pretty far off, and that is something that is about to change, because the next morning we woke up and same time, 5 in the morning, ready to go out wolf watching, 35 degrees, very cold, not going to be fun, except that we get to see wolves, and it's pouring rain, so we can't go wolf watching. It's going to be too foggy in Hayden Valley. It's pouring rain. We're not going to be able to see any wolves because when it gets in the mornings in Hayden Valley, it's always foggy anyways. It's always a danger that it's going to be too soaked in by fog and you're not going to see them. But with the rain, I just knew there was no way we were going to see them. So we stayed in the tent, slept in, and I thought, okay, seen all the wolves that I'm going to see, and unfortunately that's it. We're not going to see any more wolves. And I couldn't have been more wrong, because we got up, we drove into Hayden Valley, and there's a massive traffic jam, at least 150 cars, and there are cones set up along both sides of the road in a little, like, probably 20-foot stretch. And I knew what that meant. I knew that meant that a large, dangerous predator was about to cross the road. So we pulled over, we jumped out. Hanner actually had to go way down. He was driving at the time, fortunately, so he had to go way down. He let me jump out early since I had the big camera, and he had to go way down and find a parking spot. He still got to see the wolves. He still made it there in time. But I jumped out of the car, ran over, asked the ranger. He said 3 black wolves are about to cross the road here, and right in front of me, and just 20 yards in front of us, over the hill, comes a black wolf. And it was pretty insane. I was actually somehow ended up standing at the very front of the crowd, and I just made eye contact directly with this wolf for like 5 seconds, and it was crazy. And then the wolf looked away and kind of continued to come towards us, and then realized that we were a massive crowd, doubled back, and came across the road right in front of us, and then went over onto the other side, as you can see in some of these pictures, and stopped and looked back at us. And that's when I took probably the best shot that I've taken so far ever, period, of the wolf, and then headed on out across the meadow. And it was just such an amazing experience. As you can see, some of these pictures I haven't edited yet. I've only edited the one shot of him looking back at the crowd. The rest of it I haven't edited, but it was just so cool to see this wolf this close, and really a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and something that I'll never forget, and definitely hands down the best part of the entire trip. So that is how we ended our Yellowstone trip. The other 2 wolves didn't end up crossing, just that one, but that was enough for me, and I was just totally blown away and so happy to be able to see that wolf that close. And yeah, it was just the best experience ever. So that was the end of wolf watching in Yellowstone and grizzly watching and all the other things. And now I'm going to go ahead and close this video out. Alright guys, so that's going to be the end of the wolf video for Yellowstone. We got to see some really awesome stuff. Saw 21 wolves in total, 4 grizzlies while we were up there. And obviously that one wolf was super, super close, so that was amazing. And now we are down in Grand Teton National Park. You can see the Tetons back here. Really incredible range. The Grand Teton is actually covered by clouds right now. You can't see it as good. But now we're going to be doing videos of the wildlife here in Grand Teton. So that's the end of the Yellowstone wildlife video, at least for wolves. And it's pretty awesome. It's definitely crazy to see a wolf as close as we did today. Really amazing. But that is going to be it. Like I said, don't forget to share this video, like this video. Most importantly, subscribe so you can be entered for that giveaway at 1,000 subscribers to go swim with manatees down in Florida. And I will see you all in the next one. Alright guys, so that is going to be the end of the vlog where we're... Alright guys, so that is going to be the end of the... Oh my god, I can't speak.